Inside an FBI interrogation room, the air is stale, tense. Across the table sits a boy who vanished 3 years ago, Nicholas Barclay. His family believed he was gone forever, but he came back a survivor. He claimed he escaped a trafficking ring, that his captors were European. It explained his new accent. It explained why his blue eyes were now brown. Trauma, the doctor said. The family was just happy to have him home. But now, under the harsh lights of the FBI office, the boy opens his mouth. But the story he tells isn't about his escape. It's a confession. He says his name is not Nicholas. He is 23 years old, and he's from France. The agents are stunned into silence. If this man is a French con artist, then who was the boy the Barclay family welcomed home? And what happened to the real Nicholas? October 1997. A youth shelter in Linares, Spain. A boy is found huddled in a phone booth. He's terrified. He has no identification. He tells the authorities a harrowing story. He was kidnapped, trafficked across Europe, and subjected to years of abuse. When asked for his name, he hesitates. An official trying to help shows him a list. A catalog of missing children from across the world. The boy's finger lands on one entry. A 13-year-old from San Antonio, Texas. A boy who vanished without a trace in 1994. His name was Nicholas Barclay. Thousands of miles away, a phone rings. The Barclay family is given impossible news. After 3 long years, Nicholas has been found. Shock, disbelief, and then a tidal wave of hope. His older sister, Carrie Gibson, boards a plane to Spain. She walks into a room to finally see her long-lost brother, but something is immediately wrong. The boy before her has dark brown eyes. Nicholas's eyes were a piercing blue. His accent is thick, distinctly European. Nicholas was a Texas kid. The boy explains himself. The trauma, he says, it changed his eye color. His captors, they were from Europe. It warped his speech. In that moment, a choice was made. A choice to ignore the facts in front of her eyes. Carrie hugs the boy. She calls him Nicholas, and she brings him home to America. He was back on American soil, living in his childhood bedroom, surrounded by his family. But for some, the unbelievable story was just a little too good to be true. The story of the boy's miraculous return was perfect for television. The producers of the show, Hard Copy, agreed. They hired a local private investigator for the filming, a sharp, no-nonsense man named Charlie Parker. On paper, his job was simple. Capture a feel-good story of a family reunited, but from the moment Parker walked in, he felt a chill. He saw the hugs, he heard the happy words, but the emotion felt hollow, almost staged. He looked at the boy, at Nicholas, and saw the physical differences. The dark eyes, the foreign mannerisms, and he looked at the family, who seemed to ignore it all. Parker famously told his crew what he was thinking. This family's happy, the boy's happy, the FBI is happy. I'm the only son of a that's not happy. It was more than a hunch. It was a professional instinct. So Parker started digging. He found an old photo of the real Nicholas Barclay. Then he took a photo of the boy living with the family. He placed them side by side and focused on one small detail. The years. Like a fingerprint, the shape of the human year is unique. And Nicholas's years did not match the imposter's. Not even close. It was Parker's first piece of concrete proof. Meanwhile, Nicholas was attending the local high school. His classmates were confused. That was not the boy they remembered. This version was older, more worldly. He spoke with a strange formal accent. He seemed completely out of place. The whispers grew louder. The story was starting to fray, and Charlie Parker now knew he was right. But a PI's hunch on a photo of a year? That wasn't enough to challenge the US government. He needed something undeniable, something nobody could ignore. To understand how this deception was even possible, we first have to understand the man behind it. Frédéric Bourdin was not an ordinary criminal. His entire life was a search for an identity. Born in France, he never knew his father. His mother couldn't care for him. He grew up in and out of youth homes, a ghost in his own life. So he began to borrow the lives of others. He became a master of false identities, a chameleon. His method was meticulous, analytical. This was not an accident. It was a performance. He found Nicholas's case through a missing children's hotline. He studied the file, memorized the details. He dyed his hair blonde. He even had a friend tattoo him, copying the exact marks the real Nicholas had. Each lie was a building block, a piece of a stolen life. But now back in Texas, his creation was falling apart. The pressure was mounting. Charlie Parker, the investigator, was relentless. His questions were getting more specific, more dangerous. And then a new feeling began to creep in. Fear. But it wasn't just fear of the investigator. It was fear of the family he had tricked. Bourdin later described their behavior as strange, an eerie silence, a quiet watchfulness. He began to wonder if they knew he was a fake. And if they did, why were they playing along? The thought was terrifying. For the first time, the master manipulator felt like he was the one being manipulated. He was trapped. Caught between an investigator who knew his secret and a family whose secrets he was beginning to fear. He realized there was only one way out. With nowhere left to run, Bourdin made his move. He walked into an FBI office and he finally told the truth. The agents listened, stunned. As the Texas accent melted away, replaced by a fluent, articulate French, he laid out the entire deception. From the phone booth in Spain to the bedroom in Texas, his name was Frédéric Bourdin. He was 23 years old. The story was so bizarre it was almost unbelievable. But for some, it was a confirmation. U.S. consular official Nancy Fisher had harbored doubts for months, but her job was to follow protocol, not hunches. Now the official case was finally catching up to the truth. The FBI secured a court order. They took the young man's fingerprints. They drew a sample of his blood for DNA analysis. The performance was over. Only the science remained. The results came back, and they were absolute. There was a 0% chance he was Nicholas Barclay. The deception was officially exposed. The news crews descended on the family's home. They asked the obvious question. How could they be fooled for 5 entire months? The family's public response was consistent. They said they were blinded by hope. That their desperation to have their son back made them believe a lie. The imposter was caught, and the case was officially closed. But for Charlie Parker, the real mystery was just beginning. Frédéric Bourdin was sentenced to 6 years in federal prison, a sentence twice as long as prosecutors recommended. The judge cited the immense emotional trauma he inflicted. The imposter was punished. But the most unsettling question was never answered in court. Why did the Barclay family play along? 2 theories remain, haunting the edges of the case. The first theory is one of hope. It suggests the family was so broken by grief, they willed themselves to believe an obvious lie. They chose a comforting fantasy over a devastating reality, a psychological phenomenon of collective denial. The second theory is far more sinister. It's the theory Charlie Parker believes, that the family knew Bourdin was a fake from day one, that they accepted him as a shield, a way to stop the police from asking questions. Questions about what really happened to Nicholas. Bourdin himself claimed the family was hiding something dark. But he's a pathological liar, a master manipulator. His words are worthless as evidence. And so the case remains fractured. The real Nicholas Barclay is still missing. No body was ever found. No crime was ever proven. All that remains is a story about a boy who vanished and a stranger who took his place. It leaves us wondering about the nature of truth and the unsettling fact that sometimes, for some people, a comforting imposter is easier to live with than a horrifying secret.